When you go to the cinema to watch a film, or you've just invested time in a new series on, say, Netflix or another channel like that, you're not there to listen to the composer's music. In fact, you kind of don't even want to know that the composer's music exists at all. Our job as media composers is not to show off, is not to overtake what's happening on the screen, but it's there to enhance the immersion that the viewer gets. So music is vitally important, but it should serve what is happening on screen. It shouldn't overtake it. It shouldn't even be in competition with it, unless there's a very, very good reason. Now, the WestWorld competition is now over, and there's been huge speculation and discussion about it, particularly about the winning entry. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this because a lot has been said already about it. But a lot of people that I teach composition to will know that one of the questions that I always ask is, why is that there? Justify to me why you have included that. And often, if they look at me and say, I don't know, then I tell them to delete it. I'm very militant and precise about these things. If you cannot justify every single note in your music, then you need to get rid of it. And I would question perhaps the winning entrance, and if I was teaching it from a composition point of view, I would probably ask questions such as, justify why that's there. What is the purpose of that? How does that work? And if the answers are vague or wishy-washy, then I would suggest that the music is not quite right. Now, I am a big believer in less is more. That's my philosophy when it comes to music. I often hear music where there is so much going on, it's so convoluted, and it almost feels like an exercise in pretentiousness, where you're showing just how much you can do. And I think, much like when you're having a debate or a conversation with someone, it's usually the people that say the most that have the least to say. And I believe that music should be about choosing your notes very wisely, choosing the textures to suit what is happening on screen. And so I am, like thousands and thousands of people, someone that has had no feedback and very little in terms of views on my entrance for the WestWorld competition. So I thought I would actually just upload this video to show you my thought process. How did I go about doing it, and why did I do it? So it's that justification idea. It's me owning up and saying, this is why I have done this. This is the reason for it. I didn't just throw it in there for the sake of, you know, originality or thinking out of the box. Because unfortunately, being creative, thinking out of the box, being original, and all of those buzzwords that we sort of say isn't enough when it comes to media composition. You actually have to make sure that you are serving whatever media you are writing for. You may disagree, you may agree, I don't know. But my belief is that creativity shouldn't be about doing things for shock value. My artistic integrity is too strong for that. So I'm going to present you my entry, the video and the audio with my commentary explaining what I did. And then at the end, I'm going to present just the audio, so just the track on its own with no video, because I think actually it would be useful for you to be able to listen to the music without the other stuff happening, so that you can kind of hear a little bit clearer some of the things that I did. So I hope this will open up a bit of discussion, and also perhaps maybe we can, as composers, feedback on each other's work, because we're not going to get any feedback from anyone else. So it may be worth us, you know, helping each other out in this time. Thank you very much for checking by. I hope you like what I did. Obviously, you know, leave a comment, and any kind of feedback would be, you know, much appreciated. But let's keep the comments nice and friendly, okay? And if we have to debate, let's do it in a fair and constructive way, rather than in a negative way. Anyway, thanks a lot. Enjoy the entrance.
I didn't want any music at the very beginning. It's only when the action starts that I introduce a pulsing synth bass. This is kind of to drive the music forward and to give it some momentum.
Enable semi-automatic control, disable safety features.
I also wanted my music to have a strong melodic shape. I didn't want it just to be ostinatos in strings. and lots of kind of epic drums. I wanted there to be a very strong melody, and you can hear it played by this dulcimer style instrument. Notice that as he goes into the genre change, the harmony and the melody is slightly more dissonant here. You'll notice there is a change in pace here. The pulse is much slower and there's a much thinner texture to lead to anticipation.
Head south.
As the cars are coming around the corner and skidding around the corner, I added some sound effects, panning from left to right, to enhance what was happening on screen here. Nothing was changed in the actual video. We get a very beautiful sort of top-down image here as the cars emerge onto the busy streets, and I felt that there needed to be quite a rich melodic idea, and so I returned to the dulcimer style sound. Notice here how I allow my music to fit around the dialogue rather than being overbearing and taking over.
It's not.
I use some brass hits here to emphasize the action as the window is blown off. I have shown a change in the action is by modulating, and there's a very clear shift in key. Whilst the action is increasing intensity, instead of making the music too overbearing, I decided just to gradually add layers to the musical texture.
Police ahead. Maintain speed. Sharp left.
There are string figures in the background, and the dulcimer returns to add a subtle melodic. Then I use some very subtle Mickey Mousing here for some of the gunshots and for the explosions that follow. Also, when the missile was being launched, I added another effect to enhance the sound of it whizzing past the screen.
Hold on.
So in the next sequence, it's very important that there is still momentum in the music and that it doesn't completely drop. But also I wanted to show this sense of flight as we see the sort of point of view, if you like. This next sequence is my favourite because as the car emerges from the inferno, you get this wonderfully groovy electronic bass sound. And I was kind of inspired here by sort of the Knight Rider soundtrack to make it sort of futuristic and electronic, but also quite epic as well. Now, as she says accelerate, I decided not to increase the tempo of the music. The string ostinato pattern gradually begins to fade and be replaced by a very quiet synth ostinato. I felt needed to be very, very static because there'd been a lot of action that had happened previously, and there's this sense of mystery and intrigue as we don't know what's going to happen next. So the music revolves around some dissonant sustained chords. And again, the dulcimer instrument returns to sort of hint at some of the melodic ideas from previous. Finally, at the end, I added an effect to enhance the WestWorld logo at the end. I felt it wasn't right to have silence there. It needed some futuristic sound to enhance the visual.